So Melissa, she is from the your guided health journey, and she's an integrative health practitioner, registered health coach. Basically, don't wait for your wake up call, and that's her podcast. Melissa has a two-pronged approach. She provides a personalized wellness protocol using natural herbs and supplements, and she brings your body back into balance. Melissa is a 100% virtual. Well, she's real, but she's not an avatar, but she does everything by on Zoom or online. Specializes in holding your hand and guiding you all the way through to the healing. All right. She's been part of the Pursuit 365, a newly published book containing 365 Canadian women who lead by example in pursuit of success, happiness, and achievement. She's a guest on many podcasts, and she has a message to the world that we can be empowered in our health, and she wants to show you how. Another passion is that she has is to start a nonprofit org to help educate girls in developing countries. And it's an impact on breaking the global poverty cycle. Girls Matter has funded 11 girls since 2016 in March to finish high school in Uganda. So that's pretty awesome stuff. And you know what? I'm going to stop stealing the thunder here because Melissa is going to explain a lot more. Or do you, Melissa?
Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today. Thank you, Bernie, for inviting me. Thank you to Alicia for connecting me to Bernie, and to Bernie for all of the connections you've since made to me as well. So I'm going to share my screen with everyone and jump right in. So yes, you heard my intro, and I just want to take you back a little bit in time, back to about 2016. Or actually 2015, I found myself let go when big fish bought little fish. I was given an hour to clear out my desk, not a word of thanks after 24 years of service. And in that moment, I knew three things: that I was never working for someone else again, that whatever I did next had to be of service, and that I had no idea what that was going to be, but I was open to being guided. And later that year, I found a company that specialized in brain supplementation. And I thought that was really interesting because I realized I'd never been taught how to look after my brain. And I knew there was near epidemic rates of Alzheimer and dementia over here. But I also thought about the fact that I had a grandmother who was almost 97 years old, still living at home, fully cognitively functioning and looking after herself. And it made me wonder, what did she do right? And how do I get to grow up and be like her instead of another diagnosis over here? And so I jumped into this company and learning about the brain and good nutrition for the brain. But I also thought about my grandmother's life and how that compared to mine. And she was born in 1916 in little old Christchurch, New Zealand, in the bottom corner of the world, where there weren't very many toxins there or in the world at the time. And, they grew up growing all of their own food on their property. And I was raised in the 70s in Tokyo, Japan, at the height of manufacturing plants spewing out toxins. And so I knew then I was behind the 8 ball and I had to do more. And this started my journey as I started learning about the brain, learning about the impact that toxins have on our health. And about 4 months after this, my oldest daughter, got a concussion in her first high school soccer game of her grade 12 year. And because I wasn't working and she was in no state to understand or retain what practitioners were telling her, I was taking her to all of her appointments at the same time as supporting her healing with this great brain nutrition. 2 months later, my second daughter got a concussion in high school gym class. And when I got the call from the school to go pick her up, I was driving. I literally looked out my windshield and up at the heavens and went, really? This is how you show me my path? And in that moment, it started this your guided health journey and guiding people on their journey, because I realized how difficult it is for people to actually heal and figure it out for themselves when they're already in pain, already depleted, and already struggling. So the great news is that both of my girls have fully recovered. And this has become my new career, which I absolutely love. And now it's my mission, as Bernie said, to to show people that we are so much more empowered in our health than we have been led to believe, and just how important that is. So I ask you, what is your health worth to you? I would love you to type in the chat from 1 to 10. How much do you prioritize your health? And that includes investing in your health, as opposed to taking it for granted until we don't have it. Just pop that in the chat. I'd love to see where people are at.
What does the number 1 represent versus the number 10?
1 is I don't prioritize it, and 10 is I do prioritize it. I invest in it, and or somewhere in between. So I'd love to see that in the chat from everyone. So awesome. So some of you are right up there, some of you, kind of in the middle, which is, where people tend to be. And what often happens is we don't really prioritize it until we don't have it. Edward Jones just came out with some really interesting report the other day on the new retirement and the 4 pillars of retirement, which focus on health, family, purpose, and finances. It said that 91% of retirees believe it's never too late to begin looking after your health or to improve your health. And I fully agree with that. It also said 91% of 50-year-olds and over believe that having your health means getting to do all the things that you really want to do in life. But they also learned that 74% of Canadians 65 and older are living with at least one chronic illness. And so I want to, let me just actually put this on presentation mode. I want to ask you, in regards to this, do you want to wait to get that chronic illness? Do you want to wait to become another statistic? Or do you want to do all that you can in order to prevent that for yourself? That's what I love to show people how to do. And I do that in a 2-step approach. I help you discover your toxic load. And at the end, I'll show you a quiz, a link to a quiz that you can do. And then also discover your body's imbalances. So first of all, I just want to ask, are your trash cans overflowing? And no, I don't mean the ones out in the park street. I mean the ones inside your body, your liver and your kidneys. We often don't think about what they're doing inside our body, but in today's really toxic world, they are getting burdened and bogged down. Since World War II, we have had almost 100,000 chemicals introduced into our world. And these toxins are getting into our body through our airways, our waterways, our foodways. And sometimes we're putting them on our skin. And to just give you some examples, here's a whole bunch of toxins. I can't pronounce most of them. They're all known carcinogens, and yet they're allowed to be used in products that we use on a regular daily basis. In our bedding, our furniture, our flooring, paint strippers, even in plastics and kids' toys, et cetera, et cetera. There's also the ones that we put on our skin. And these ones are the top 5 that you want to be avoiding. But when we put personal care products with these toxins onto our skin, it takes 26 seconds for them to get into your bloodstream and then move all around your body. At least when we're putting things in through our mouth, they get to go through the liver, and the liver tries to detoxify it. The average woman has put over 200 chemicals onto her body just in getting up and getting ready to go out the door to work in a day. Unfortunately, in North America, the requirements about safety for these things are just not tight enough. Compared to our nearly 100,000 in North America, Europe has only 8,000, so they're much more stringent. So this is affecting all of our body because all of our body is interconnected. And it's not just going in and impacting the liver, but for women, it's impacting hormones as well. And how many women do you know that might be struggling and blaming it on menopause, maybe struggling with fertility issues in their younger years? Often it's because these toxins mimic estrogen. They're xenoestrogens. and the body can't tell the difference. And the liver needs to detoxify excess estrogen, but when it's already bogged down because of all of these toxins, it has a hard time doing so. So this is what our liver is struggling with. And it's a double whammy because it's overloaded with all of these toxins coming in. But at the same time, our soils are nutrient deplete ever since the advent of agriculture or industrial agriculture, and taking from the earth to feed more people on the planet and not allowing the soil to settle and rejuvenate. So the soil's nutrient deplete, and then our food can be nutrient deplete. And the liver works in two phases. It has phase 1 and phase 2 of taking those toxins and preparing to get them out of the body. And the supplement or the nutrients we need for phase 2 of liver detoxification are not in the soil anymore. Therefore, they're not in our food. So we're not getting them into our body. So our liver is both undernourished and overburdened. And what this is doing is putting this massive toxic load on our body that we're not aware of, we don't think about, we can't see these toxins, and we're not educated about this through public health and through our education system. It's interesting because if we go back to Ayurvedic medicine or Latin American medicine or Asian medicines, they still detox to this day. But in the Western world, we believe that having a shower and washing our outer body is great for good hygiene and good health, and we need to do this. But we've forgotten about caring for our inner body because it's out of sight and it's out of mind. But it's actually really important to be caring for our inner body because it's our inner body that is determining our health outcomes. Hippocrates said thousands of years ago that all disease starts in the gut. And we also know through more recent science into the arena of epigenetics, which talks about our genes being impacted by the environment we create. And we now know that 90 to 95% of all disease is triggered by the environment you create inside your body. And I think that's really empowering because it gives you the choice of the environment that you create inside your body. Do you want to create an environment that is inhospitable to disease? Because you can. And that's what I show people how to do. We just need to know that this is available and that we can do this. So what's happening inside our body is, yes, we have genetics, and yes, we have the environment we create. If we create an environment that's inflammatory, that triggers cells to trigger our genes, then that's when we get that diagnosis of a disease that we've been genetically predisposed to. But if we create an environment that doesn't trigger that inflammation, that doesn't trigger the cells, then those genes never get turned on. And for years, we've been led to believe that so many diseases are genetic. And many people think, I'm just destined to get that disease. I have bad genes, da, 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 da. But the reality is we can shift that mindset into that might be my heritage, those might be my genes, but I can choose to create an environment as to not trigger those genes to turn on. So as I said, it's really powerful. And you might find focusing on toxins is kind of a negative topic to talk about, but I think understanding the cause and where we're at today is really important in then being able to shift towards the solution for yourself and making that happen. Because I don't believe any of you woke up this morning hoping to be diagnosed with some kind of chronic illness. And until this point, many of us have been taking our health for granted, and especially in Canada where it's, we can go to the doctor and we don't pay anything. We set aside money for buying a house or the mortgage payment, for kids' education, for renovations, but are we setting aside money for our health? because in today's age, our health system is unfortunately failing us. And even with extended medical, we do have benefits with caps that we can hit and run out. I know people with chronic illness that are paying out of pocket even when their extended benefit plans exist, because it costs more for the drugs than what their plan will cover. So in my mind, prevention and investing in our health in advance saves money compared to actually waiting to get sick and then having to pay later on. So I want to share this idea with you from Albert Einstein. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Let's shift how we think about health. Let's make it our top priority, because man can have 1,000 dreams until he doesn't have his health, and then he has but one. Without your health, you can't earn an income, you can't build your business, you can't raise your family, you can't live your purpose, you can't live your dreams. So prioritizing your health and making it number one does allow you to do all of those things. And health isn't everything, but without it, everything else is nothing. Public health estimates the cost of sick days due to chronic illness at $122 billion a year, and that's in Canada. In the US, in 2016, it was at 1.1 trillion. And we know all of these can be significantly helped with lifestyle and dietary changes. As I mentioned already, 90 to 95% of disease is caused by the environment we create inside our body. And I just want to clarify for you that what chronic illness is. It's an umbrella term that covers many different types of illnesses, such as obesity, diabetes, heart disease, Alzheimer's and dementia, autoimmune diseases, leaky gut, and some forms of cancer. So many of these we can help people recover from, even when their doctors are putting them on medication and telling them they have to take that medication for life. But even more so, we can help people prevent when we start to take preventative care of our health. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you took your car in for an oil change or a service? Have you done that in the last year? Just raise your hand if you've done that in the last year. It's interesting because we actually tend to take better preventative care of our car than we do of our own body. And yet, when push comes to shove, we can actually buy a new car. And here's an interesting thing that I love to share. Back in the days of ancient China, the doctors didn't get paid if their villagers got sick. So those doctors were really motivated to keep their villagers healthy and teach them prevention and looking after their health, their nutrition, their exercise, et cetera, et cetera. And I wish it was that way today, but it isn't. And important information is being kept from us. We're not educated in how to take preventative action in our health. And quite truthfully, we have a food industry that doesn't care about our health. Processed foods are full of chemicals and sugars and salts and very nutrient deplete. And we also have a healthcare industry that doesn't care about our food, in the sense that medical doctors, when they go through medical school, are not taught about nutrition and exercise and lifestyle adjustments. If there's a nutrition class in medical school, it's one class. Some doctors get 1 hour with all the focus on pharmaceutical drugs. So it's a broken system. But the beautiful thing is that when we decide to take preventative action in our health, the body starts to heal really quickly. My clients are amazed when I start them on a detox program to clean out their pathways, boost the health of their liver, that in just 7 days, they're like I can't believe how my inflammation's gone down. I didn't think it would happen this quickly. By the end of the program, a 3-week program, they're saying, I can't remember ever feeling this good. And I love nothing more than getting those results for people and shifting the trajectory of their health. And all we've done so far is discover their toxic load and start lowering it. At that point, we haven't even started looking at lab tests and the imbalances that are happening inside their body. Now, I'm sure you all remember the song by Cher, If I Could Turn Back Time. I love it. I can't sing, so I won't do that to you. But what I want to say is we all wish we could turn back time, right? And I want to tell you that we really can, because this toxic load on our body is aging us. And we often write off symptoms that we have as genetics or simply aging and accept them, or seasonal allergies, and we don't do anything about them. But the reality is we can do something about them. We can alleviate those symptoms. We can bring back energy. We can improve our sleep, and we can feel like we're in our 20s and 30s again when we don't accept all of this as normal and realize it's our body talking to us and we can do something about it. And that's what I do with a functional medicine approach of looking at the whole body. So how do we lower your toxic load? Well, that's with a very defined program, which is a functional medicine liver detox program. And what that program will bring you is crystal clear thinking, deep rejuvenating sleep, regain youthful energy, improved memory recall, losing weight naturally and effortlessly. It helps balance hormones again, repairs digestion, and lowers bloating as well. Brings healthy inflammation. We all need some inflammation because a sprained ankle needs inflammation to heal. A cut finger will create inflammation to heal. What we don't need is chronic inflammation from a bogged down body. And boost libido. Anybody want these things? Push your hand up. Right? Who doesn't want this? Well, you can have it. And what you just need to be able to do is detox your insides, your liver. So the program I offer, I'm going to explain what it is and what it includes. And you can look for a functional medicine liver detox program anywhere you like. As Bernie said, my practice is virtual. I work with everyone across North America. I can absolutely work with you, but if you want to find a local practitioner to do this with, you absolutely can. But what you're looking for is a program that puts your body into a state of autophagy or deep cleaning for at least 2 to 2.5 days. At the same time, we want to be nourishing the body to give it what it needs during that time so that you can do this program as you go about your daily life. You've probably all heard of water fasts, 7-day water fasts, and you think I could never do that. And quite frankly, I would never want to do that because it depletes the body to the extent that it can take quite some time for the body to recover. And through those 7 days, you're not going to be able to function at the level that you normally would and go about your workday and your regular life. So this program instead uses a shake powder, which has got your protein in it, but also a detox formula and all the vitamins and minerals that your body needs. And as a shake, it's already blended up. So digestion happens really quickly, which means digestion can turn off and deep cleaning can turn on. And think about the last year through COVID, and we've all been working from home and the refrigerator is just over there. How often have you been grazing all day long, right? Every time you put food in your mouth, it uses 30% of your energy as digestion turns on and has to then break that down and try to get those minerals and vitamins, etc., into your body. So this deep stage of autophagy is having you have shakes at defined hours through the day, 3.5 to 4 hours apart, so that in between, your body can get into deep cleaning and move those toxins through. And at the same time, get rid of damaged cells and dead cells. And the longer you're in this phase towards the 72-hour range, the human growth hormone kicks in and starts to actually build new, healthy, young, vibrant cells in your body. And that's where you start to get that renewed energy and that youthful energy from. At the same time, you're intermittent fasting overnight because the body naturally detoxes overnight. But many of us eat dinner and go to bed, and there isn't enough time for digestion to fully complete. And so we're going to sleep with the body still in digestion mode, and we're not in detox mode. You want to have at least 2 to 3 hours between finishing dinner and going to bed, so digestion is completed first, so the body can start its detox mode. When it's detoxing overnight, and we're doing that for an intermittent fast each night for 12 to 14 hours, we're really optimizing, again, the body's ability to move those toxins through. Now, I know intermittent fasting is something everybody's quite familiar with, but I want to say it's one of those things where more is not necessarily better. So yes, you can do it nightly, and I recommend that to be using the body's natural cycles of detoxing, but limit it to 12 to 14 hours. When we go over 14 hours on a regular basis, we're starting to put the body into a stress state. And this is not great for women in particular, because in that stress state, the body is shutting down digestion and procreation as it's producing more cortisol in order to allow you to flee or flight, run. And in that moment, the body's producing estrogen, but it's not producing progesterone. So again, we start having too much estrogen in the body and we get into an imbalanced state. So if you are intermittent fasting, limit it to a maximum of 14 hours. During this program, we want to be eating nutrient-dense anti-inflammatory foods on the days that we have meals, which is days 3 to 7. We start with a shake. We have a vegan lunch. We start with a shake for afternoon snack, and then a dinner with animal protein if you choose. We also support the liver with additional supplements from Ayurvedic medicine and functional medicine to support that phase 2 of liver detoxification that I mentioned earlier, where the body isn't getting those nutrients, in order to support the liver in doing its job. And as we do all of that, we do it for a week, and then we repeat it for 2 more weeks. And through that process, the body can truly reset. And that's what the body needs. We get those toxins out and allow it to reset and rebalance. And detox is one of those words that marketers love to use. And sure, you can go and find detox kits on the shelf in your grocery store. Absolutely. And will they work? You saw that picture at the beginning of my presentation with the overflowing trash cans. Those ones will probably, take that top layer of trash off the trash can, but they're not actually going to pick it up and empty it. Whereas doing a true functional medicine liver detox guided through with a practitioner, that's going to pick up that garbage bin and completely empty it to reset your body and give you all of these results here that everybody is looking for. So I just wanted to say that our liver deserves more respect. It's something that, again, we haven't been taught about the importance of what it does for our life. It's in charge of over 500 functions within the body, but most of all, keeping the body clean. And so when we look after our liver, it can do its job. The other piece to the work that I do that I just feel it's really important for people to be aware of is I help you see what's going on inside your body with functional medicine lab tests that will show me where the imbalances are, where the inflammation is, because when we know that, we know how to correct it and bring that body back into balance. Modern life has us living way out here, out of balance and too depleted. Stress depletes us of so many minerals and vitamins that our body needs that it doesn't have the ability to come back into balance on its own. So we support it, bringing it back into balance, and then the body takes over and heals itself, which is what it's absolutely designed to do. And modern life just has it unable to do that. So these are just some of the labs that I can run and that other functional medicine practitioners can run that I would love for people to be aware of. The first one you may already be aware of, that is a food sensitivity intolerance test. Really important, because as our body gets closer and closer and higher in toxic load, we actually trigger more and more food intolerances because the body is trying to keep up with so much and it can't do it all. So you may be eating foods that are creating inflammation on the body and you don't realize it because they're foods you've eaten your whole life. And it's hard to associate the food to the symptom because the symptoms often don't come for 48 to 72 hours later. But you may be aware of, pain after eating, bogged down digestion, bloating, gas, maybe acid reflux, maybe brain fog, joint pain. All of these things can be signs of food intolerances. And if you're not sure, we can run a lab and you'll see exactly what they are. And that doesn't mean we have to get rid of them forever. It just means we need to remove the ones that are the biggest culprits for a period of time while we let your body heal and come back into balance, and then you can reintroduce them. Depending on the degree of the intolerance, it may be something that you can have once a month. It may be something you can have once a week. It may be something that you're like, you know what? I don't really miss it. I don't need to eat it because I found new foods that I enjoy even more. The lab on the right is a hormone lab, which goes through all of your sex hormones, cortisol 4 times through the day, which is a really important factor into people's sleep issues. And there are many people, 70 million Americans are struggling with sleep today. I'm sure that there's an equivalent number in Canada. And understanding that and bringing the body back into balance in terms of cortisol helps get people sleeping again. This lab also shows all 4 thyroid markers, which you can't get through your mainstream doctor because I tried and they won't do it, as well as your vitamin D levels and your insulin levels. So really great markers as to what's going on in your health and early warning signs so we can bring you back from those diagnoses of chronic illness in relation to the thyroid or diabetes, etc. There's also a lab that will show if you've got overgrowth of mold or fungus in your gut, bacteria or yeast, which cause all sorts of digestive issues, as well as other types of symptoms that, like I mentioned earlier, brain fog and fatigue and joint pain, etc. But this lab also shows me neurotransmitter function, which is really important because the gut and the brain are connected. It shows mitochondrial function, that's your energy levels, as well as how your detox pathways are functioning, and vitamin levels. Are you deficient? And if so, let's do something about that. The lab on the right shows mineral balances and imbalances, as well as metal toxicity loads. And it's not just enough with our minerals to start taking more. You can see this person has quite a bit of calcium and magnesium, but they're really low in sodium, potassium, and iron. They need to be in balance with one another as well. And so doing a lab and understanding where those imbalances are is really helpful. And when we are under stress, we burn through our minerals and we burn through our vitamins. So understanding those deficiencies helps us support the body as it comes back into balance. And then we have an omega-3 lab. I love this one. It talks about our inflammation levels and our imbalances between omega-3s and omega-6s. Omega-6s are in all of our food. Omega-3s are much harder to get. You can get them through sardines and anchovies, wild salmon and mackerel and other fatty fishes, but we're not eating them 4 times a week to get the levels that our body needs to counter the high load of omega-6s that we get through so many foods. So that leaves us out of balance. It leaves us inflamed because omega-6s are the inflammatory essential fatty acid. But when we bring this into balance, it's incredibly powerful because we can lower the risk of sudden death by cardiovascular disease by 90%, 90. The number 1 cause of death in North America is cardiovascular disease. And this one lab will show us where you're at, how to bring your body back into balance and lower that risk. The very last lab is a stool test that will show parasites, H. pylori in the gut, as we look deeper for underlying issues that are happening in your gut and causing you pain. So I think it's really important people know these are available. Mainstream doctors are not trained in these labs, and they don't necessarily know they're available. So I know people that have gone looking for inflammation tests and gut health tests and being told by their doctor they don't exist. They do. They're on the holistic side, and those labs all get mailed to your home, which is how I can actually work with my practice being 100% virtual. They get mailed to your home. I get the results. We do our sessions on Zoom. But where to start? You can get started by doing my toxic load quiz, and the link is there, and we'll drop it in the chat after. Do the quiz, take a screenshot of the last page, email that back to me, and book a complimentary session. I'm offering that to you guys today to discuss your next steps, because what I'm offering in my work is the opportunity for people to take action to change their health outcome. Because if your health is important to you, understanding how to take action in order to change your health outcomes is really important. And I also just want to let you know that my next group detox program is starting on July 6th. If you register before June 21st, you get 20% off. And this week, if this is of interest to you, act now, because this week, you buy 3 detoxes, you get 1 free. That's a $99 value, which I wanted to share. To do the 3-week detox, you need 3 anyway, and that gives you a 7-day detox left over to do quarterly after that, which is what I recommend, because the toxins are always coming in, so we have to always get them out. So thank you very much for having me. There's my contact information, and I'd love to open it up to questions. And I can stop sharing, and I will drop those links in the chat as well for you.